So hello! On this channel we talk about independent spirituality and folk magic for free spirits. My name is Aster, and in today's video I am bringing to you a themed Q&A. This time the Q&A is not tied to the number of subscribers the channel is getting to. No, this time it's about a theme. I'm also thinking about bringing other themed Q&As in the future. The questions that I will be answering today, they were sent to me on Patreon, on Instagram, on those question boxes, and also through the comment section of a post that I've shared in the community tab. So if you want to participate in future Q&As, make sure to follow me on Instagram because I post those kinds of things in the stories. Also subscribe to the channel to not miss any community posts, and if you want, you can check out my Patreon because Patreons have priority in Q&A videos. Wait a minute! Before we start, let's take a minute to hear a word from today's sponsor, which is myself! Did you know that I have opened a store? Yeah, that's right. Over there you can find all my ebooks that contain some juicy bits of occult knowledge that I share, and you don't want to miss out on that. And also private readings that combine tarot and Lenormand cards, as you already know them, with some extra spice of Afro-Brazilian knowledge. But the best part is that the products on the store start at only $3. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, I'm also on Patreon. And over there I share extra exclusive content like spell tutorials, behind the scenes of my life, exclusive Patreon videos, unfiltered book reviews, weekly readings, and much more for only 1 cup of coffee per month. So if you like what I do on the internet and would like to support my work somehow, check out the links in the description to take a look at everything that I offer. Now, with that being said, let's get back to the video. And as I was saying, I am going to start with a question from Patreon. I am not going to reveal who asked it, but yeah, it's a long question with some details. Let's dive into it. Well, my question is actually a little too personal to share here, so I will ask it in as general a way as I can. Okay. How would you deal with a long-established dry spell within a relationship, magically speaking? And do you have any resources you could recommend? Be they your own content that I may have missed, though I doubt I've missed any. She's such a sweetheart. Or that of others, or books, etc. Okay. Contextual elements. We're now married. Will be a year on Samhain, but last week we celebrated 10 years together. So this is to break all the rules of love magic. We are starting this Q&A not talking about how to attract a lover, how to make your crush fall in love with you. No, we are talking about a relationship of 10 years, okay? Let's do things differently for a change. The dry spell is on his end. He isn't cheating or anything. It's mental health and magical related, most likely. The issue to be dealt with magically is that we both, him more so, settled into a sort of acceptance and complacency with it. So I would like something to sort of give us both a magical kick up the butt. He is consenting, I will point out. As in, he is happy for me to do my witchy thing on us/him. Get you a man who is willing to be an occult guinea pig. Yeah, get you a man who is up for being your guinea pig. There are other possible causes, but as I said, these are much more personal. Sorry for the essay, lol. Lots of love and hugs. Okay, so to sum it all up, they have been together for 10 years and they are experiencing difficulties in their sexual life. I have a few things for you. So as a resource, I would recommend you check out Sacred Sex by Gabriela Herstick. I am certain that you can find find some spells, some rituals, some mindsets even in this book that can be helpful to your situation. I will allow you to discover the book yourself. And I'm also going to share 2 spells with you. This book is confidential. I will not share. Okay, it's in Portuguese, by the way, so you are going to perform the following, which is, I am going to give you 2 options. This is spell number 1, and spell number 2 is going to be different, but this spell, in this spell, you are going to be tapping into the energies of the Orisha Oshun, which is a goddess, okay, very much associated with love. You don't need to be initiated, you don't need to be Brazilian, you don't need, it's like, think of it as if you would make something to, I don't know, Aphrodite, okay? It's just, it's a goddess, like so many others. This is the love flower pot, okay? This is how this spell is called. Pay attention, anyone who wants to follow, okay? Grab pen and paper, write down what I'm going to tell you. You are going to need 1, like, flower pot, a big one, okay? So, like a pot for plants. Preferably those made in clay, not plastic ones, okay? So 1 pot for plants, a very big one. Not very big, but like a voluminous one. You will understand why. A jar with a lid, a glass jar with a lid, okay? Something you can close. You are going to need honey. You are going to need 2 poppets. I'm not gonna get into how to make poppets right now, okay? Because this is a little bit of a process. Just make sure that inside of the poppets there are tag locks of the both of you. You can add hair, for example. 1 poppet obviously will represent you, the other poppet will represent him. Red ribbon, yellow ribbon, and a chosen plant. Seeds of a chosen plant. In this, for this particular intention, I recommend you honeysuckle because it has Venusian and Martian properties, okay? It is both associated with Venus and with Mars. So combining the energies of love and aggression and sexuality in one same plant. Okay, so let's go. You are going to get the poppets. You are going to put in your tag locks, also the full name, your full name, and his full name. I'm taking some time here because I am translating as I read, okay? You have to baptize the poppets with water. If you don't know how to make a poppet or whatever, I've got a book for you. 1 minute. Utterly Wicked by Dorothy Morrison. There's a step-by-step on how to make a puppet in this book. If you don't know what to do, this book will teach you. By the way, everything that I am recommending as books throughout the video is going to be linked down in the description, okay? As I was saying, you are going to tie those 2 puppets facing one another using both the ribbons, the red ribbon and the yellow ribbon. You are going to tie both puppets facing one another, okay? You are going to put that puppet couple tied up inside of the glass jar and cover it up with honey. So you are going to need a glass jar that is big enough to fit your puppets. The puppets themselves don't need to be huge, they can be small, and you will need enough honey to cover up the puppets, okay? Now you are going to cover that glass jar up with dirt, with plant dirt for gardening, and you are going to plant honeysuckle in the pot. And you are going to say a little prayer to Oshun, asking her to improve your sexual life within the marriage, explain the situation, and tell her, or tell the plant that you are putting into the earth with the seeds, that your passion and desire between those 2 people buried in there will grow as the plant does. There you go. You will need to be a little bit patient with that because plants have their own rhythm, but that's a very nice, I would say, longer for the long run kind of solution for things to stay, to escalate the passion and to continue that way. The other spell I have to share is in case you want to go into contact, direct contact with spirits. You are going to reach out to a spirit no, it's not one spirit, it's two spirits who work together. São Cosme e Damião. I will ask the editor to write their name on the screen. São Cosme e Damião. You can simply say Cosme e Damião, which are their names, okay? You are going to grab a white plate. Fill it up with candy. Yeah, candy. Because those spirits, it's not gonna make any sense, but they are very much associated with children spirits, okay? Don't try to understand, just like take my hand and trust me, okay? Let's go. You are going to grab your white plate, fill it up with candy, okay? The candy that is available to you, try to have a variety of different types of candy, okay? And you are going to grab a blue candle and a pink candle. They are kind of small, so I would advise you to have bigger ones, but I just grabbed these so you can see the shade of the colors a little bit better, something a little bit like baby color in a way, blue and pink. You are going to take that plate to, I don't know, your altar, your spellcasting area, or a garden, and you are going to light the candles, call out to Cosme Damião, explain your situation, and ask for their help for passion to be reignited in your relationship and for things to stay that way. And there you go. There you go. After you perform those spells and you take a look at the book that I have recommended and maybe tried out a few things from here, make sure to let me know how things are going in your sex life, okay? So I only received one question from Patreon. Now I am going to find the Instagram questions. Let's see. I hope that those spells can be useful not only for the person who asked it, but also for others watching. Now, Instagram questions. What items / names can I put on my self-love altar? What items or names? Names is a little bit funny. Self-love altar. So something that was nice to see was that many of the questions that I have received were regarding self-love. That was really nice to see because like people are more concerned about how to love themselves better rather than finding somebody else to love them. That's amazing. So I have to admit that I don't have a self-love altar, but if I would put one up, I think that in my case particularly, I would put anything that I find glamorous. So like a very pretty mirror, some beautiful frames with affirmations in them, like I am a diva, you know, I am a star. I think I would put red lipstick on that altar and red candles and a ruby stone. Maybe tiger's eye as well. What else would I put? I think I would put moonstone. I think I would put maybe in a pretty frame, I would put something to symbolize the moon, maybe a picture of the moon, because I think it just calls to me to do that if I would make a self-love altar. Also some picture of you in which you look really nice. Yeah, the mirror would definitely be a thing. Jewelry, okay. Yeah, that's what I would do if I would put together a self-love altar. I had a question, what are some easy ways to improve self-love? So as I have received like the majority of the questions that I have received regarding love magic were about self-love, so I'm not gonna go through all of them individually because it's basically the same thing being asked over and over. As I have mentioned, Sacred Sex by Gabriela Herstick does have a few things about self-love, self-esteem, so I recommend this book. I think that self-love is very much related to how we perceive our bodies, our relationship to our image, so dabbling into, or at least understanding a little bit about how sex magic works could unlock some doors to your self-esteem and self-love. And another book that you can't miss out on when it comes to treating yourself better and giving yourself more self-love Somebody dropped something. But a book that you cannot miss out on is The Witch's Book of Self-Care by Erin Murphy Hiscock. So this book goes through everything that is fundamental for you to take care of yourself and treat yourself better and love yourself better. It goes through mental and emotional self-care, physical self-care, spiritual self-care, household self-care. So in here you have meditations, you have journal prompts, you have rituals, you have baths, you have incense blends, tea blends, you have body scrubs, you have recipes for food. This is a very complete book on how to treat yourself better, and I think that this is like the first step into loving yourself a little more. Treating yourself right, treating yourself better is the beginning of a loving relationship with oneself. So definitely take a look at those two books because you will find some very useful information in them. Oh, this book, you guys, this book feels like a hug. You know, the recipes in here are so good. So yeah, I think that for me personally, I mean, you might look at me and think that I have never had self-love or self-esteem issues, but that's not the case. That's not something necessarily related to your looks. I think that we learn how to love ourselves through the way that our parents give us affection, and not everybody is lucky to have had affectionate parents, and we take those patterns into adulthood. So yeah, I've had issues with self-love in my life, self-worth, self-esteem. I believe that journaling helps. So answering the first question that I was the question that I've read, what are some easy ways to improve self-love? Well, journaling can help. Shadow work can help. I have a video on the channel about shadow work. It's going to be linked up in the cards and down in the description in case you haven't seen it already. What else? Affirmations are very helpful. There is something that I do every day that can sound a little bit silly, but it works for me. I look at myself in the mirror and I say, I love you and I'm gonna take care of you. And I blow myself a kiss. I do that every day before leaving the house. Also, inner child work, inner child meditation, like meeting your inner child and soothing them, being there for them as your adult self. Those things were helpful to me. Also, in my particular case, what else was helpful to me? Go somewhere where I could be completely myself. I needed to be in a different place to release who I actually am as a person. This is not going to apply to everybody, but in my case it was necessary. So moving countries was the best thing I've ever done for myself, and I don't know, maybe you could try an exchange program for 3 months, or I don't know, just to see how you would feel in another place. I don't know, or maybe just travel. Traveling does give us a little bit of the sensation of something new and exciting, and it changes how we perceive ourselves. Also, like if you have had a complicated family, I think that doing the work to understand and forgive your parents is a big part of finding the love that you have and giving it to yourself. So yeah, there are many different aspects to self-love that go way beyond us individually and casting spells. An interesting question that I have received on Instagram was, what do you think about love spells? Are they dangerous? So love spells. Love spells, originally, they are meant for you to attract a lover, for you to make somebody fall in love with you, make somebody become interested in you, or bring someone into your life, so on and so forth. What do I think about love spells? To be honest, I don't think they're worth it. I don't think they're worth doing. The best way to give and receive love is taking the effortless route. When love is supposed to happen, it is easy. It just rolls naturally without effort. It just happens. It is light, it is calm, it is peaceful. You don't need to chase after anyone. Things just flow naturally and just unfold and happen on their own. That's how love is supposed to feel and how it is supposed to develop. If there's somebody you're interested in that you have the feeling that you have to force the situation and that you keep chasing after the person and they're not reciprocating, stop. Instead of casting a spell to make that person come to you, just leave them be, and wait for something reciprocal. The world is full of people. You don't need to chase after somebody who is not interested in you. And why am I saying that love spells aren't worth it? Because of experience. I've done it in my life, and yeah, you can bring a person into your life with magic, but you cannot make them love you. You cannot make them care about you. There are certain things, certain limits that magic cannot trespass, and love, genuine love, is not something that can be fabricated with witchcraft. I do believe that love goes beyond what can be achieved with magic. You can't attract someone and put them in your life in a way that they will not even know why they are there. They will, you could attract someone, make them be there, but they will not love you. They will not treat you in the way you would like to be treated, because this is simply not meant to be. You don't work well together, you don't function in the same way, so there's no point. If something is not flowing naturally, don't chase after it, and don't try to use witchcraft to make it happen, to force something that is not unfolding naturally. Of course, if you want, you can go ahead and see it for yourself, but listen to the voice of experience. I've done it and I came to the conclusion that it is not worth it. The effort, the time, the energy, it's not worth it. I still have to share that experience one of these days, because yeah, it is not worth it. Maybe you will attract that person that you wanted. You will make them come into your life just to realize that you don't speak the same love languages and you feel lonely and not loved within the relationship. So you get what you wanted, but you at the same time you don't get what you wanted. In my opinion, it's not something healthy. It can develop, love spells, they can develop into obsessions. They can make you unhappy, as a matter of fact. So of course they exist, they are out there, they have results, there are even bindings, but you can't enchant someone into loving you or treating you right. And one of the most pleasant things in life is when you do encounter a special person and things are reciprocal. Nothing is better than that. So I don't waste my time and energy with love spells anymore, because I don't think it pays off. It just makes your love life miserable, makes you feel not loved, and you are in the situation where things just don't feel right. And yeah, in my opinion, is it dangerous? It could be when it comes to mental health, for example, emotional health. So I prefer to allow love to find its way to me at the right time with somebody who actually wants to be with me, instead of trying to draw into my life someone who was not interested in the first place. Been there, done that. It's not worth it. So now the questions from YouTube, the community tab post. What are your favorite self-love rituals? To be honest, I don't really have a self-love ritual per se. I just have little things that I do in my day-to-day that make me treat myself right. So for example, every night I make a chamomile tea before bed, and I drink it in bed, and it makes me feel worth it. It makes me feel pampered. It makes me feel soothed. Also, cooking homemade meals is a way of nourishing my body and treating it right. I think that self-care, finding ways to care for myself and having affirmations and keeping a journal, all of those things, they are not ritualized intentionally or anything like that, but they do help me to have a good relationship with myself. Bath magic is also a very big part of it all. I really like to make rosemary baths to replenish good energies in me and make me feel brand new. So I would say that tea magic, bath magic, and like using a very good body lotion after I take a shower. I just grab my chamomile tea and I come to bed and I feel like a queen. Also, I love candles. These candles here, like my bed is right here. I am sitting on my bed, and these candles, when I come to bed to sleep, I leave them on. I turn off all artificial lighting and I just leave those candles and sometimes the tea candles as well. This gives such a good atmosphere in the room. It's so cozy. I love candlelight, and I think it all adds up to the self-care routines that I have. Another interesting question was, what plants are best for love different spells? Like different love intentions and spells. Self-love, romantic love, friendship, and what tarot spread would you use to read about someone's love life? Okay, so the plants, I would use pomegranate for self-love, the dried peels of pomegranate. For romantic love, red roses. That's such a cliche, isn't it? I think it depends a lot on what you have available to you. I have loads of rose petals because I have a rose plant. So yeah, red roses for romantic intentions. And friendship, I think I would use chamomile. Let me take a look there. Also, I think I would use olive branches for friendship. A nice tarot spread that you can use for taking a look at love-related things is Light, Darkness, and Advice. So it's a 3-card spread, and with that spread you can see what's the positive side of that relationship, what are the negative sides of that relationship, with the light and the dark, and in the middle, an advice about like how to deal with all of that. Another question. Hi Aster, from an Umbanda point of view, is there a moral issue with love magic regarding the other person's free will? Luis Fonsi. He was featured in the first Spooky Tales episode, I think. Nice to see you over here, Diego. So, Umbanda as a religion has a tendency of trying to keep things a little bit more ethical, but then again there's the left-hand path that doesn't really care that much about free will. So I think it would depend a lot on who you are consulting with and the spirits you're dealing with. It would depend. It's a matter of who you're talking to. Some practitioners, some members of the religion would not want to do anything that forces a person to do something they don't want, and some spirits would not want to do that either. But at the same time, there would be other people and other spirits who would be like, they would have no problem with forcing somebody to do something. So it depends. Another question, what sort of love magic can someone do when they already have the love of their life with them? I always see magic pertaining to attracting a lover, but not much on what can be done past that. Is love magic only about finding lovers? As we have seen at the beginning of the video, no. You can use love magic to improve your current relationship. Usually people look for love magic if they are already in a relationship, if they are having a problem in the relationship, if they are facing infidelity, for example, sex problems, as we have seen at the beginning of the video. So if your relationship is alright, like it's already good, why would you want to perform spells for it? Maybe to keep things good? Yeah, that makes sense. So you could make sweetenings. Sweetening spells, they are very simple. You can get both your names, a glass of water, honey, sugar, and light a white candle to the spirits you work with, asking for things to continue sweet and harmonious between you two. You can do that. Also, another thing that just came to me that I forgot to mention for the first question, after you've been together for such a long time with the same person, it's important to reinvent things and to bring novelty to the table. Otherwise, you're gonna become like siblings living together, and that's not desirable. So try to go out more, try to travel, try to do different things, experiment new dishes, cook, I don't know, get out of the house, go do activities, go do a ceramic painting session, try axe throwing, try, I don't know, ice sculpting, I don't know. Try to bring those random nice activities for you, because otherwise it's gonna be just a routine and the day-to-day life. There's no relationship that can resist to routine. So bring something new. Try to bring novelty into the relationship, because that's the mundane part that is also needed, okay? Next question. If someone's being an object of love magic, how would they know? I mean, they might find it odd if suddenly they feel attracted to someone they weren't before, but because it's interfering with their free will, would they even realize it? Or will it, it could be their mind reasoning or whatever? Also, once love magic is done on someone, what happens next? Do they have to redo it from time to time to maintain the person's interest, or can love really grow out of it? So if somebody is being the target of love magic, what happens, right? What are the consequences of that? Well, all of a sudden that person, let's say Pink has cast a love spell on Blue. All of a sudden Blue is going to feel drawn to Pink. They will want to spend time with Pink. They will want to talk to Pink and get to know Pink better. They will find themselves randomly thinking about Pink all of the blue, like out of the blue. Like they will start looking at Pink a little bit differently and paying more attention to Pink and finding Pink more interesting all of a sudden. So these are the results. And then a proximity can grow out of that, and they could get together and have something going on. Will love grow out of it? Not necessarily. But there's a kind of spell that's the binding spells. They are dark magic. It is interesting to see how much people talk about free will when it comes to love magic, when in fact every magical practice that you do interferes with the free will of others. If you do a spell to get a job, it means somebody else doesn't get the job. If you do a spell to get an apartment, it means somebody else is not getting it. And you are influencing the choices of the people who are involved in the selection process for the job and for the apartment. So there's no such a thing of respecting free will when it comes to magical practices. Somebody is going to be manipulated with your witchcraft. So it doesn't matter if it's love magic or not. So whenever you are dealing with magic and casting spells, you are manipulating other people and making them choose you or choose what's in your best interest over other people and the best interest of others. So if you are a magical practitioner, you will always be stepping on other people's free will. Thinking otherwise is just delusional. As I was saying, all this process of Pink enchanting Blue, manipulated Blue in the sense of finding Pink intriguing and interesting and attractive all of a sudden. That's like attraction spells and lighter forms of love magic. And there's the binding. I have taught how to do a binding on Patreon. That's not something that I'm gonna share publicly because it is dark magic and it can have negative consequences. Bindings are something that I don't recommend people to do because there can be nasty consequences coming out of it. And that is a spell that you need to redo every 7 years. Otherwise, your target will turn against you. So, do you really want to do a binding? That doesn't sound very inviting, does it? You see, it is called a binding. What does that word mean? It means that something like is tied somewhere, right? If you do a binding, it means the other person does not want to be there and you are tying them down in your life. That's all I'm gonna say. Next question. I heard somewhere that if you put lemons in love spells, they will make the love bitter eventually. Is that true? I would think so. I would not use lemons in love spells. Even though I didn't go through every single question because many of them were basically asking the same thing. I hope that this video was helpful or interesting at least to you. Thank you to everyone who sent questions. Thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end. This was a long one, my god. And as Mama Ru would say, if you cannot love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here? Amen! Let the music play! Yeah, I love RuPaul's Drag Race. So the bottom line when it comes to love is that first of all, your life needs to be fulfilled with your interests, with friends, family, and with the love that you give to yourself, okay? Love is something that you attract, not something that you chase after. So make sure to water your flowers because then the butterflies will come. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, practice makes perfect. So let's get witching. Bye-bye.